With his most notable appearance being in Spider-Man: Far From Home, Mysterio is a villain that uses advanced technology to manipulate others and create dangerous holograms. These holograms resemble tangible monsters who create havoc in the city. Although the visual appearances can't destroy anything, Mysterio supplements this by launching drone strikes where it seems that the monster is hitting to make it seem as if the monster is actually doing the damage. As futuresque as this may sound, a lot of science behind Mysterio's powers are already present in real life. As our technology and understanding of science continues to develop, Mysterio's powers may not seem so far-fetched after all. Prior to becoming a supervillain, Quentin Beck worked as a stuntman and special effects artist in Hollywood. After a while, he felt that he wasn't receiving the proper recognition that he deserved and teamed up with the Tinkerer to steal government plans. It was at that point that he became Mysterio. Using his experience as a stuntman and special effects artist, Mysterio used his time in Hollywood to create the powers that he is known for today.
The drone's motion comes from its ability to fly and lift from its rotor and propeller thrust. The drones also follow Newton's 3 laws of physics. For example, when the drone tips slightly to its side, its motion will move in that direction. To add on, once you set the drone in motion, then the object continues to move in that speed. The drone is able to hover because its total force is equal to its gravitational force, and the rotors of the drones are diagonal and opposite from each other, so it is able to stay in balance. When the drone's wings are forced up, it pushes its air downwards, allowing the wings to be pushed upwards, and the amount of lift is dependent on the speed and density of the air. To increase the lift of the drone, you need to increase the angle of the wing.
In the movie, we see a behind-the-illusion scene, in which Mysterio shows the drones in action uncloaked. We see that all the illusions use guns to represent the elementals punching and to show Mysterio's lasers. But how powerful are these guns? A moving object has a momentum, which is the product of its mass and its velocity. The faster something moves and the heavier it is, the more momentum it has. Bullets do damage when they transfer their energy to things they hit. The faster something loses its momentum, the more force it procedures. In the movie, Mysterio doubles the attack power of the drones. As the drone's bullets become stronger, as far as destroying stone pillars. We see now that bullets' power creates more force as they have an increased transfer of energy.
During the beginning of the movie, Mysterio fights Hydro Man as Spider-Man is not prepared to help out. Hydro Man is composed of water, or H2O. Water is made up of 2 hydrogen molecules and 1 oxygen molecule. Hydrogen is the first element in the periodic table with 1 electron and 1 proton per molecule. Oxygen is the 8th element in the periodic table with 8 electrons and 8 protons per molecule. Hydro Man is in liquid form, which means he is composed of water anywhere from 0 degrees Celsius to 100 degrees Celsius. Water that is below 0 degrees Celsius freezes and turns into a solid state. Water that is above 100 degrees Celsius evaporates and turns into a gaseous state. Mysterio utilizes gases during his fights, specifically gases that debilitate and causes others to hallucinate. One possible gas that is used by Mysterio is nitrous oxide, commonly known as laughing gas. Nitrous oxide is composed of 2 nitrogen molecules and 1 oxygen molecule. Additionally, Mysterio wears a protective helmet that has a 30-minute air supply. Although the helmet allows him to survive when dangerous gases are released, he also needs a way to breathe. The air in the Earth's atmosphere is mainly composed of nitrogen, oxygen, and carbon dioxide.
Mysterio uses electromagnetic pulses, or EMP, to affect the electrons which control chemical properties of matter. The EMP can affect Nick Fury's satellites, causing them to be controlled by Mysterio and his workers from a different source. This is caused by the asymmetries from high-energy electrons in an electric field caused by the separation of positive and negative electrons, which leave positively charged ionized air molecules, which can create the EMPs that can trigger Fury's satellites by creating a rogue current of unstable electricity that can overwhelm the systems. Mysterio uses a special acid to dissolve Spider-Man's webs. The specific formula for Spider-Man's webs are unknown, but are said to be made up of a nylon-like substance. Nylon contains synthetic plastic which is made up of polyamides of high molecular weight and is usually manufactured as a fiber. In Spider-Man, it is said that, on contact with air, the long-chain polymer knits and forms an extremely tough, flexible fiber with extraordinary adhesive properties. When affected, the nylon chains break apart and the fiber gets destroyed, causing the polyamide to end up as its original monomer. The chemistry behind Mysterio's suit is a really big factor in deceiving everyone.
His main suit is made out of basic materials such as metal. Metal has properties of high thermal and electrical conductivity, is ductile, malleable, and reflects light well.
Mysterio controls drones to create and project illusions to his victims. In real life, the movement of the drones closely resembles what Mysterio does in the movie. Starting with the creation of the drones are first paired with an individual controller so that they can be thrown throughout the factory. While flying, the user sends radio signals of a certain frequency to the drone and gives it directions on what to do. When the signals are received by the drones, the motherboard inside the drone runs a method of code based on what input the controller sends. Some drones feature satellite connection, which allows the drone to track its location in real time, then sends that data to the user. If the controller also has a satellite signal, the drone may have the ability to return to the user on command. Some drones also feature obstacle avoidance, where a signal is sent out in various directions. If the signal returns in a short amount of time, then the drone will stop and prevent itself from hitting the obstacle. This is especially useful in Mysterio's case, as the drones cannot hit other obstacles, otherwise they will break and the whole illusion will fail. The drones also need to be tested prior to use in order to ensure that the illusions actually work, as they need to be perfectly synced with each other so that way the holograms are displayed properly. In order to do this, a method of code must be written to tell the drone in what direction it should move and at what speed it should travel at.
At the start of the movie, mysterious elemental villains seem to pop out of nowhere. This can draw similarities to the biological idea of abiogenesis back when scientists were trying to find how living things came to be. Just like the villain appeared out of nowhere, scientists believe that living things could appear out of inorganic compounds such as meats. Reddy disproved this theory with his experiment with the meat jars and the flies. Reddy proved that living things could not simply arise from inanimate objects, proving how the water monster could not arise from just water and that it was simply a result of the skewed theory of abiogenesis. Mysterio's drones imitate the functions of a living creature by displaying several characteristics of life. The drones are the smallest building blocks of the monster, similar to how the cell is the smallest portion of a living thing. As more drones are added, the monster gets bigger, showing how it is living because it grows and develops. Holograms from the drones hijack the hippocampus region in the brain to create illusions. The hippocampus region is associated with memory, and with manipulation of memory, Mysterio was able to distort the truth and thus make his victims see anything he wanted them to see.
In the final scene, Mysterio gets shot with a gun in the shoulder. Considering it was a small handgun, typically people think it is safe, as the small gun does not have the mass and velocity to shatter bone. However, in reality, getting shot in the shoulder is very dangerous. The shoulder has the subclavian artery, which feeds the brachial artery, the main artery of the arm, as well as the brachial plexus, the large nerve bundle that controls arm function. In a study of 58 shoulder wounds, 51 of them needed surgery to gain back function. If the subclavian artery gets damaged, 14 out of 16 patients died, and 1 out of 16 lost the other arm. In this case, Mysterio would need to be somewhat lucky to survive the gunshot, as he essentially has a 1 in 4 chance of dying. To judge the well-being of Mysterio's physical body, we decided to calculate his BMI to determine if he is in the appropriate weight class for his given height. The formula for BMI is kilograms over meters squared. Given that Mysterio's weight is 79 kilograms and he is 1.8 meters tall, plugging these values into the BMI equation gives him a BMI value of 24.38. Considering that the healthy range for an adult is 18.5 to 24.9, Mysterio's physical body is quite average to a male adult. Compared to Superman, a muscle-packed superhero with a BMI of 30.1, this indicates that Mysterio does not have significant physical muscular prowess compared to other superheroes. This can explain why Mysterio relies heavily on technology instead of his physical attributes.